Hello everybody, today we're going to learn how to select equations from graphs. Before we do that, let's review a couple little items here. If we give you one of the zeros, can you find the other zeros? Do me a favor, hit pause, see how you make out, come back and see what you got. So we have one of our zeros is -2, another zero is -3, another zero is 1. How's that look on the graph? So here's what our graph looks like. We have three real numbers. They're whole numbers. All right, here is your 0, which is +1. Here's your 0, that is -2. Here's your 0, that's -3. Remember, if your 0 is +1, what does a factor look like? X minus 1. If your 0 is -3, what's your factor look like? X plus 3. If your 0 is -2, what's your factor look like? X plus 2. Okay, next problem. Let's try this. Hit pause, see how you do. So this works out when, remember, this is x squared position, that's x to the first position, that's your constant. This is x squared minus 5. That's your factor. Now we're going to set that equal to 0. X squared equals 5. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of 5. And that's good for your factor. You can leave it like that. I'm going to change this to a decimal. X is about plus or minus 2.23. Now let's look at what that looks like on the graph. Alright, so here is your x-axis, your y-axis. Here is your 0 of 1, but notice over here it doesn't go through the whole number. That's okay. I'm not expecting it to go through the whole number because it's not a whole number. Factors don't have to be a whole number. Alright, they were on previous problems to make it easier, but now we're getting a little more advanced. Factors don't have to be a whole number. So this is about -2.23. And this one over here is about +2.23. Alright, let's try this problem here. Hit pause, see how you do. Remember, this is x squared, that's x to the first, and this is your constant position. So this is x squared plus 1. Alright, we're going to set that equal to 0. X squared equals -1. X is equal to plus or minus the square root of -1. What do we do with the square root of a negative number? X is equal to plus or minus I. So what are my factors? My factors are 3, I, and -I. Let's take a look at this graph. So here's what our graph looks like. Here's your axis. Here's your 3. But what about when your factors are imaginary numbers? That means we have one real solution, so one time that our graph crosses the x-axis. These are two imaginary solutions, so it's not going to cross the x-axis. Alright, so let's try some multiple choice. Let's see which one of these equations would match that graph. So hit pause and then come back and check your answer. Alright, so here's the first thing I'm going to do. This 0 is 8, which means that my factor would be x minus 8. So right away, can't be this guy or this one here. Alright, then these are going to be decimals. So what I have to do is I have to take this second part and go x squared minus 6 equals 0. X squared equals 6. X equals plus or minus about 2.4. X squared minus 2 equals 0. x squared equals 2. X equals plus or minus the square root of 2. So x is about plus or minus 1.41. So that's between 1 and 2. So it's this one here. So we're going to go with this answer. All right, you know what to do. Hit pause, come back and check your answer. All right, glad you're back. First thing I look at, the whole numbers. This 0 is x, which means x minus 7 is what my factor looks like. Can't be this, can't be this. All right, so now I'm looking at these guys here. So I got x squared minus 12 equals 0. X squared minus 14 equals 0. X squared equals 12. X equals plus or minus the square root of 12. We're not going to do a mixed radical on this guy. We're going to just get to a decimal. So we're going to go x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 12, which is about 3.46. Square root of 14 is about plus or minus 3.74. So would you say this spot here is closer to 3.46 or closer to 3.74? I'm going to go with closer to 3.74, so it's going to be this one here. I'm going to do that. Okay, you know what to do on this. Hit pause, see if you can come up with the answer, and come back and see us. All right, glad you're back. The 0 is negative 6, which means my factor is x plus 6. Can't be this one, can't be this one. Only comes through the x-axis one time, which means it only has one real solution. So I'm looking for two imaginary solutions. So if I take this part and I take this, this is going to be plus or minus the square root of 1, which are going to be real numbers. This is going to be plus or minus square root of negative 1, which is going to be imaginary numbers. I know this is imaginary roots, so I have to go with this one here. All right, you know what to do on this. Hit pause. Come back and check your answer. All right, glad you're back. So 0 is negative 4, which makes my factor x plus 4. So it's got to be one of these. Can't be these. All right. This means it's going to be imaginary because it only comes through the axis one time. All right, so I got to take these second factors, set them equal to 0. Which one's going to give me imaginary answers? This one's going to give me imaginary answers. Because I'm going to put this x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 4. So x is equal to plus or minus 2i. So right off the bat, I know it's going to be this one. All right, hope you found this video informative and helps you out with your assignment, and you get a better understanding of how graphs and the zeros and the imaginary and the radicals as roots all work out. All right, have a great day. See you on the next video.